So, dear friends, I'm sure we all have a friend or a family member who is super confident when they speak, right? Those people who have a bit of sway or a bit of influence in the family, whenever those people who give you a betting tip, the so-called sure thing, right? Jenny, put 20 quid in that horse now, it's a sure thing, absolutely, it's going to come in first, not a bother. And they say it with such confidence that you almost believe them, even though they have no idea. How can they possibly, even if that is a good horse, how can they possibly tell that's a better horse than all the other horses that may be running that day? There's no such thing as a certain. And if you've ever betted on a sure thing, let me know how it went for you. Usually they're sad stories. But when people speak with confidence, it inspires a bit of confidence in you too. You notice in the farming community as well that in a certain area you'll have a lot of Ford tractors, and then in the next area it's all, well, back in the day it used to all be Davy Browns. Remember the Davy Browns? And then in the next area it's all John Deere, because the farmers in the locality swear by that tractor, and so it influences all the other farmers around them, so they all kind of buy more or less the same, And we are influenced, and we are very influenceable as regards what we think is good, as regards fashion, as regards food, as regards what we wish to attain in life. And if people say to us, Jenny, I wouldn't go near that college. Absolute rubbish. Japers couldn't stand it. Hated the place. That more than likely would have quite an influence on you. Well, they went to that college and they hated it. Maybe I should go somewhere else. So when people speak with confidence, it does have an influence. I saw a little article recently on people who were asked random kind of general knowledge questions. And some of them were questions you couldn't know the answer to, but you had to kind of guess. One of the questions was, are there more stars in the Milky Way than there are trees on Earth? Now, obviously, you haven't ever counted either. But you just have to make a guesstimation. Are there more stars in the Milky Way, or are there more trees on Earth? And that, so they asked some random questions like that. And then the second question they asked everybody was, and how confident are you of your answer? And what was really interesting was they discovered that the less people knew, the more confident they were in their answers, right? So the more questions they got wrong, the more likely they were to be 100% no, absolutely, definitely, not a shadow of a doubt. The more they got wrong, the more confident they were in their answers. And you might even know people like that as well who, might struggle with getting things right, but they're super confident about it. And just when I read that article, I thought, isn't it interesting how important it is when we speak about the faith, that we're able to speak about it with confidence, not with arrogance, and not with you'll go to hell if you don't do this, but with confidence. So someone says, for example, why do you believe in Jesus? Now, if you start the answer with, I don't know, right? Okay, can you see how this is going the wrong direction already? And then you follow that up with, I suppose. Okay, so I don't know, and I suppose. Whatever follows that now is going to be pretty weak. So why do you go to Mass? I don't know. I suppose it's good, like. Can you see how that answer is going to be lacking something? Because in all of us, we all crave certainty. We crave certainty. We want to be certain that what I'm doing is right. We want to be sure that I'm buying the right car. I want to be sure that I'm wearing the right clothes. I want to be sure that I'm making the right decisions, that I'm marrying the right person. We want certainty. Also, as regards our faith, it's been back in the last century where science kind of really took over. Also, as regards how people saw the world, is this quantifiable? Can we prove the existence of God with science? Well, not really. Well, then maybe it's all made up. Right? Because they're craving certainty. We want to be sure. So if God exists, then there has to be some evidence, right? We have to be able to prove it in some way, right? Because we want certainty. That's also why some people, even crazy people, or cult leaders, are able to attract followers. Why? If they speak with certainty, if you're spoken to by someone with conviction, and if they're smart and they have good arguments and they're able to put it all together, it can be quite attractive. I mean, even ISIS and that. I mean, it's not something we would support, but they're very, very certain about what their goals are and what their methods are. And it attracts men. Now, it's bonkers, but it's attractive because it's got certainty. And so when we think about our faith as well, the need to have confidence and certainty about what we do and why. So why do you go to Mass? And don't answer with, I don't know, I suppose. Why do you go to Mass? Because there I meet the Lord. And what does that do for you? Well, I mean, I want the Lord to live in me. That can only be of benefit to me and my family. And why should you pray? Why do you pray? Do you already pray? Why do you pray? Why do you pray? Kathleen's praying the rosary there, goodo. Why do you pray the rosary? Again, don't start the answer with, I don't know, I suppose. Start the answer with, I love it. It really helps me. It's very simple answers. So we're not forcing anyone to believe what we believe. We're just confident about what we believe. Even in today's gospel, the Lord is saying, He says, a time will come when you long to see the days of the Son of Man and you will not see it. And some will say, look here, look there, do not move. Even if they say so with confidence. So what we need to do now to follow the Lord is we need to, let's all go off and live in a commune. Right? So you sell your stuff, you give me the money, right? And you all come here and we get to pray every day. Right? That's what you need to do. That's what you must do. Right? And if someone says that to you with confidence, maybe you might even think about it. Even though it's, again, not God's will. So the people will say to you, look here, look there, but do not move, do not set off in pursuit. Even if people speak to you with confidence, it doesn't necessarily mean they're right. But when it comes to matters of faith, when it comes to how the Lord has spoken, what the Lord asks of us, why we practice, we can, and indeed we must, be confident about why we do. In the past, there may have been a tendency to answer dogmatically, but with no reason. Okay? All of you probably remember this when you were kids. If you asked your parents, why do I have to go to Mass? What was the answer? Because I said so. Or because you have to. Get into the car. In. That was the answer. Why do I have to go? Because you have to go. And that was the answer. That was the answer I was given. My parents are wonderful people. But that's the answer most of us were given. Why do I have to go? Because you have to go. Which isn't an answer. So it's helpful to kind of ask ourselves sometimes the hard questions, but with the confidence that there are good answers. There are good answers. We don't have to make this stuff up, especially with the internet now. It's great. You can look up, why do Catholics go to Mass? And then to be confident about our answer. The Lord has come to give me life and life to the full. He has come to set me free, and I want that. Who doesn't need a little more freedom? Who doesn't need a little more love? Who doesn't need God's help in their lives? I know I do. Do you? Do you want to come with me to Mass? Do you know, a bit of confidence, and it changes everything. It changes everything. Because there's a danger in today's world that people think if you're confident about your faith, you're being a bigot. But that's not true at all. You can be confident about loving golf. You can be confident about loving Toyota. You can be confident about loving sun holidays in Spain, and there is no problem. But you have a confident opinion about faith, and suddenly you're a bigot. Not at all. I'm just sharing my opinion, love. That's all. I have a priest friend who he's super smart, but he used to always say, in my humble but correct opinion, and he usually was right, actually. In fact, I don't remember him ever being wrong. But in my humble but correct opinion, but it's good for us to be confident, and like there's a wonderful confidence you can have without at all being aggressive or being triumphalist. We must never apologize for the faith that Jesus died to give us. We must never apologize for this treasure that we have been given that cost the Lord his life to give it to us. So when we do so, when we're confident about our faith, We're just being confident about the fact that the Lord does actually love us. And there may be days in your life when you might even struggle with that one. When things are rough in your family or rough in your own life, or you have some bad diagnosis as regards your health. And on those days you're like, but I prayed. And I went to Medjugorje. So I shouldn't be getting sick. I should be getting the all clear. Everything should be rosy. Because it says so in the Bible. He wants to be a follower of mine. Let him take up his roses and skip through the poppy fields with me. That's what it says, isn't it? No. He wants to be a follower of mine. Let him take up his cross and follow me. These are Jesus' words. So there will be adversity, but even in the adversity, we can still be confident that the Lord gives us what we need. In our world today, young people especially are craving certainty. Especially, see, if you come from a family background where mom and dad are now no longer together, or maybe never were together, and then mom's boyfriends and dad's girlfriends and the whole lot, and so there's no real kind of solidity or certainty there. And then in school, I mean, your friends can kind of come and go depending on opinions and depending on what's trendy and what's not, and so it can be very easy to fall out of friendship. And also, those school problems now follow you home because you have a phone and so do they. So if you were bullied at school for being pro-life or for being Catholic, that bullying can now follow you home. So it's much scarier than it was in our day, where if you were bullied at school, the bullying stopped when you went home. Now it doesn't. So kids they're craving certainty because they just want to feel safe. And we have it. We have certainty because our faith does not depend on the Pope in Rome or on any one person at all. Our faith is built on God himself. The Pope and everyone else, it's just our job to represent and clarify and teach what has been given to us. But we don't invent it. So none of this is our opinion. This is just given to us. All I have to do is say, this is what I've got in my hands, and hand on that faith faithfully to the next person. And then they receive the same faith. We don't add to it. We don't take from it. And we hand on the same faith to the next generation. But none of it's my opinion. And none of this is depends on the Pope. None of it. So what we believe, we can be entirely confident in. This is given to us by God. And that's worth standing up in the public sphere for. That's worth being confident about. So our answers about the faith should never be prefaced with, I don't know, I suppose. But more with, from personal experience, I know this is a blessing. I know this is good. This has been great for me and for my family. So, dear friends, let us firstly thank the Lord for what he has given to us in the gift of faith. What he has given to us is so beautiful. I think it was Socrates who said, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know. So rather than giving, as I said at the beginning, those who knew very little were very confident in their answers, I think the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. The more we know about the Lord, the more we realize, wow, you're way beyond me. You're such a mystery to me. And this is fascinating. So let's be confident in the faith that the Lord has given us. Let us be joyfully confident in the faith that the Lord has given us. This confidence that the world is starving for. Amen.